Morning, everyone. Welcome to Trayer Wilderness. It is a very dismal and rainy day here, but it's a good day nonetheless. I look forward to sharing with you today. I am just real quickly sharing a link over to our Facebook page, if I am able. It is not allowing me to, so let's see here. There we go. So how are you all doing today? That is my question. And where is everybody joining me from? So we have people joining us from all over the world, which is really awesome. I get messages and correspondence, and it is just amazing to me where everybody is coming from. And I'm curious how everybody's doing through our current events and our current circumstances, and are things progressing in a positive way, or are they progressing in a negative way? I'm just curious. I have some neat things to share with you today in that regard. Okay, so we've just invited Facebook, and now I am distraction free. So let's see if the comments are working today. Good morning, Miss Tammy. They are not, but she is here, and I am glad to have you guys joining me. How is it in Montana? I know that you guys opened up last week. What are you experiencing as a result of that? Good, bad, in between? I'm gonna take these off. There is quite the glare. So, as I mentioned, it is rainy here today, which is kind of a bummer because we were starting to dry out and would have been able to get our next loads of stone up on our new property. However, God's plans are greater than ours, so we are just rolling along and being patient. This is funny. There is a glare, but I'm as blind as a bat, so I can't see when the messages come up, so we're just going to have to roll with that. We get to go to church, which I'm sure was nice to get back out and fellowship with people. Are you seeing a positive to that when people are getting to church, that it's produced something more positive in the people as far as wanting to get together again and having missed that fellowship? I imagine so. We are still doing home church. Our church did open up on Sunday. They had a drive-up service for the early service, and then the later service was a walk-in. But we are still hanging out here in the woods and playing it safe and just doing our home church. One of the things that I shared on our Facebook page this weekend was a question. I like to question the audience to find out just different aspects of things, how they think in certain matters, what they're up to, what they're doing. And this week's question was, what is something positive that you and your family experienced during these troubling times? And the answers I got were just awesome. I was very excited to hear the answers. So I'm going to share a couple of these. One of our local friends here shared a couple of things. She said that my husband was able to work this spring. He's usually off during the springtime until it dries out and he can haul logs again. He's a logger in the area, so we have to wait. They usually have to wait till the spring thaw. But he hauled grain, which was a way to get his foot in the door of having something to do every spring. It was a blessing, especially since my office was closed. Since my office was closed and the kids were out of school and Brad's grain haul got finished a couple of weeks early, we were able to spend a lot of time together. It was so nice. We've truly enjoyed it. I think people are really learning the values in this, and that's what I want to see happening, is that through the chaos, positive things manifest. And that is possible in any chaotic situation, but especially this one. Another friend on Facebook says, family thought I was crazy. I was starting to feel crazy. I stored a lot of dehydrated food. Now I can laugh and say, see, I wasn't crazy after all, lol. And I love that. And another friend said, response to that, I had just in February thought maybe I'm wrong and they are right. I should just stop with all this. I've been doing it so long, it isn't necessary. Lol, yes it is. See, she says, funny that I had felt like giving up so close to the need. And isn't that how it always is? Isn't that what I'm always talking about? Tammy says, I also get to spend time with my grandsons. Yes, and I know that's a treasure for you. So I was very grateful that you had that opportunity also. I would be very happy with that myself. Mimi says, our congregation spent a week together out in the wilderness for the Feast of the Unleavened Bread. The police did do a drive-by and filmed us all with their camera, but never did stop or bother us. Praise. I did not see that until just now, and that is absolutely awesome. D. McGee says, more time to enjoy the little things, less electronics, less material wants, back to the basics, good books, good music, new recipes, and the ability to listen to some amazing sermons from various churches online. We can survive and we can thrive. And isn't that the truth? You know, I think it takes experiences like this for people to realize that they are capable. So often, you know, we cut ourselves short and don't feel that we're capable of doing new things, or just doing things we haven't done, or that other people are doing, or things we've tried and failed. You know, we're not willing to take that second attempt. So I think it's really important. Angelina says, I actually got a substantial pay raise and will permanently work from home even after the mandates in my state have lifted. God knows our needs, and God does provide, and it's really amazing. And like I've been saying, so much good can come from the chaos. You've walked out the 4-year chaotic journey with us, and you've seen so much good come out of it. And that is the important part. You hear me saying all the time, to see the good in things, regardless what it is you're walking through. And that is life-changing. You will hear a podcast on that upcoming. Let's see here. My granddaughter discovered her love for gardening, and that is absolutely awesome. That was Sunny. And Kenny Dean says, we were caught up in my chemo before this virus stuff going on. My wife quit work to help take care of me. We got done with chemo when this gig started with the stay at home. We were already in isolation mode, so we did little projects and spent quiet time at the cabin, Bible studies and getting caught up on reading for fun, relaxing and enjoying life, thankful every day. That's so awesome. And you know, in Kenny's circumstances, to be able to have this relaxing reprieve after his body experiencing that chemo was huge and will be very helpful in his healing, but also that with his immune system being impaired, you know, this circumstance and staying isolated was a huge blessing and help to him too. And what's awesome though is seeing people seeing those blessings in their lives, and it's just really awesome. Pat Kenny says, getting back to survival basics and aware of wasteful practices. How many of you can say the same? How many of you are realizing that there was many things in your life that you were wasting or were just had lost respect for? I imagine for many, toilet paper is one of them. So Nathan Collins says, kids pitching in more around the house, spending more time with each other, building good sibling connections. That's awesome. That's awesome. Nancy says, my extended family that had lived with us for over a year finally moved out. That one really made me laugh because, again, the blessings through the chaos. You know, God's timing is perfect. And now she is able to enjoy her peace during this time and relax and find the comforts of her home again. That's just funny. William says, traffic has been wonderful. Bill Hart says, way too easy to order food in. And wife and I can spend every hour of every day in the same home, but not necessarily in the same room. That was funny to me too. But good that it is realized. Donald says, proving my kids wrong. And so was Donna and Christy as well, as far as their ideas and their preparing. Irene says no one's died, and that is an extreme blessing. And Annetta, she says, I ordered chickens back in January. They're here now and are a happy distraction from what's going on. And she took a step forward in her preparedness aspects. So it's pretty awesome. How many of you have things to share? Share those with me. Now, the question again was, what is something positive that you and your family experienced during these troubling times? We've experienced the sale of our home. We've experienced the excitement of building our new home and getting that started. And right now, oh, if you could see the rest of my house, this looks really nice and tidy and pretty. The rest of my house looks like an absolute bomb went off because we are packing up what we don't need, completely packing up and getting things out of the way. There's work we're doing here. So we are jumping on that. We got materials yesterday. The mountain man has also, I don't know if I mentioned this, but he took apart a horse trailer that we had. We did have a horse. The trailer has just become a storage place for our lumber that we mill and varying things. Well, he took the top off of that trailer, put it on top of and covering pallets so that we could keep things covered still. And he is utilizing the actual trailer itself to move forward with our milling. That will be the constant home for our mill and will enable us to move it back and forth or wherever it needs to be for us to mill lumber. And it will enable us moving forward to have it on a trailer that we can easily level. Up until now, when it needed to be moved, it took a while to get things leveled out on the ground that we moved it to, where this way it's on the trailer, and with varying jacks he will be able to level the mill out and just go to town. So it is a huge blessing. I thank the Lord for his talents. He is actually taking the whole trailer itself apart. He was really disgusted with how it was built and is rebuilding it. He's getting steel today that will be used in the build of our home and to make barn doors, closet doors for our new home, and a bathroom door, as well as some doors here. And it will also be the steel to enable him to finish this trailer. So I'm thankful for his mind and his abilities, and also the fact that we were able to get him a new welder. He had sold his welder in the midst of our chaos so that we could afford to live. And now he has been blessed with a welder that he was hoping to have all along, actually very inexpensively. So God is good. And the mountain boy is here, which has been awesome. He's been out finding sheds every day, and it's crazy. He goes out, and every day but one, he's found a shed. And when I say shed, he's looking for antlers or winter kills, paddles from moose, the elk and deer antlers. So he's been very productive there. We had a little bit of a scare last week and ended up in the urgent care with him. He was having major chest pains and pain shooting down his arm. Initially, we had thought that he had just pulled a muscle in his chest, but that continued to get worse. So took him and found out that he had costochondritis is how you say it. I have to think about that when I say it. It's a long one. But what it is strain in the muscles in the chest, and also difference in the muscles in the chest, where I can feel all of my ribs when I go down my chest. His is all muscle. And thankfully, it wasn't life-threatening. Costochondritis is actually responsible for like 30% of the ER visits that are typically felt to be heart-related when they actually are not. And it's something that inflammation can be dealt with via diet, additional exercise and stretching, and attention to his posture. So God was good there too. That was really scary. Funny thing is, Austin is high functioning autistic, and I've taught him to learn to redirect when he's angry and when he's anxious, to just calm himself. And he has also got a very high pain tolerance, but we haven't experienced anything for a long time that was him dealing with any sorts of pain. So 2 things occurred. One, thankfully, the Holy Spirit was nudging me to put ylang on the back of his neck and put ginger on his chest and make him smell lavender oil the whole way there. It's about a 45-minute drive to the urgent care. because what was happening is, although he was very calm on the outside, he was actually having a panic attack, which contributed to the 132/86 blood pressure reading I took before we left. And he almost fell asleep on the way there, which is unheard of for him. He can't sleep during the day. It's just one of those things with him. He hasn't slept like that since before he was a year old, just to be able to fall asleep. So the fact that he was falling asleep was because of the pain he was dealing with. And it was some pretty intense pain for him to be in that place. So it was interesting, to say the least. But he's fine, we're fine. But there's always something, don't you agree? There's always something of some sort or another. And I don't know, lots of comments coming across here. So Tammy says, not much has changed for me. Restaurants are open as of Monday. A lot of the churches are not yet gathering. I also get to spend time with my grandsons. And good morning, hello everyone from Dianna. Welcome, Dianna. Praying for you and Craig. I hope Craig is feeling better. And if you didn't hear me discussing it, one of the things we're talking about today is what is something positive that you and your family experienced during these troubling times. I would love to hear that. So if you're watching this now live, or if you're watching the replay, share that information, because what I shared earlier was some pretty interesting things, and good to see everybody really tapping into the gratitude aspects of things during this time. One thing I do want to encourage, though, guys, is not to get complacent during this time, and to still be aware of your surroundings, aware of what is going on. You know, taking precautions where necessary, and just learning to be frugal, because truthfully, you just don't know where this is going to go. Diana says Craig is doing much better. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. We will continue to pray for him and you, though, as well. And we just pray for our audience as a whole as well, because everybody's dealing with different things. Everybody's in different places. Restrictions are different in different places. Things are opening up. So it is going to be interesting to see what happens. Is there going to be a round 2? Is this just suddenly going to disappear and become an afterthought? You know, it's going to be interesting to see. And I do feel that a lot of good could come from this, in the regard that people are finally getting their, excuse the term, heads out of the sand, are starting to pay attention more to the need for preparedness, and have the desire to learn, and continue to stick with us, continue to scour our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel has a lot of materials out there. I think there's like almost 500 videos out there, and it is what we have been sharing all this decade long of what we do here. And as we move forward, we will be sharing our journey, sharing how we're building this cabin, why we're building this cabin the way we are, how we are going to be stepping back even more traditionally in time. There's a good possibility that we will not have consistent power moving forward. Solar may not be, or at least a system like what we have now will not be an option for quite some time. So in addition to that, we will be using a wood cook stove as our main heat source and our main cooking. We will be revamping a lot of things. We will be increasing our garden from a 40-foot by 40-foot to a 60 by 40. We will be finally adding the fruit trees that were in the works here that just didn't happen because of my health. So we are stepping everything up, and we are going to progressively do things, but we are going to do them as we can afford to do them. Remain debt-free. And we are going to take you guys along on that journey. We will be teaching you how to use a wood cook stove. We will be teaching you how to continue to can and prepare your own food, how to stock a pantry, how to garden, how to save seeds, how to groom your orchard, how to do all of those things, because it is essential skills that we all need to learn. I think we really quickly learned as our food chain is breaking, the importance of knowing how to do things for ourselves, knowing where our food's coming from, growing some of our food, learning to hunt and to butcher and to raise your own meat. It's going to be an important aspect of things, and I think stepping back in time and being more diligent and being more aware and being more prepared is an important aspect of all of this, and we want to nurture that in you guys and help you grow. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask, because something that we would like to do moving forward is a weekly Q&A with the man and I. So let your questions be added in the comments, contact us on social media, email us off our website. I want to share with you what I've done this week. If you go to our website, you will see a lot of changes. The very first thing you will see is to join us on our new build. There will be a link added to that later today or first thing tomorrow, and that will link you up to a page that will have all of our friends and people that we will be utilizing on this build, as far as maybe some of our materials, products, those sort of things. Additionally, you will find all of our videos. We are going to journal this whole journey. We've already started. I can't tell you how many videos and photos I've already taken, but I'm going to start getting those videos out there of our progress, so you can see the progress from the raw land to it being groomed and debris removed and stumps removed, to leveling out our building property, or where we're going to be building the house, and the shop and the storage area, getting stone, and then it's going to just move into the build. And below that area you will find the blog posts, and you will also find, I'm going to try to put a feed in there for my story, but I'm not sure if I can do that with Instagram yet. But if not, you can go to Instagram and you will be able to follow Off-Grid Build in my stories, and I will be adding pictures in there regularly, because that is something I can quickly and easily do. So I'm trying very hard to be efficient and diligent and be able to share this process with you guys, okay? Also, next Wednesday, if it is nice, and I'm probably going to do a test run sometime between now and next Wednesday, but I should be able to do a live video from our new property. They logged in here and cleared trees, and it has enabled me to pick up a signal from my outside router all the way up there. So God is good. He knew my needs. He knew that there are times when I need to have access to phone and messaging and even live video. So I will be recording live from up there if all goes well. Now I can see lots of messages flying through here, so let's whoop. Okay, sorry. We are expecting a steel delivery, and I need to be paying attention to that. So, okay. Dianna says, good morning, Miss Shelley. Dianna says, a great thing is we've had more times of visiting with our neighbors. They are not believers, so we get to minister and witness to them. Awesome, awesome, awesome. God knows our needs. Their names are Bruce and Kirsten. Awesome, so we will keep them in our prayers. Shelley says, forms filled out, just waiting for a call back sometime today or tomorrow. Awesome. We will be praying for you. I am so glad that we will be going to my son's for Mother's Day. It will be so nice to see everyone together, even though we will be staying our distances. Awesome. Awesome. And you'll get to see your son's land and see what they've been up to since they purchased. So Dianna says, Shelley, I'm praying for you and your family. And I hope you have a great Mother's Day. Yes, me too. And Shelley, we will be praying for you and Jim. I'll leave that up to you, Shelley, if you want to share more in this regard. But Shelley and Jim need prayer right now, and so does their daughter, Sarah. If you could just please lift them, we would greatly appreciate it. I know it would help them greatly. A lot of peace and comfort comes from the backed prayers of other believers. So please do lift them in prayer. I'm going to jump to reading some things today because I have quite a few. And I think they are really pertinent to our times. And I think it's something that will give you all a little bit of food for thought. This one's called Personal Development. It says, remember today what you have learned about the Lord through your experiences with him. That is Deuteronomy 11:2. When you listen to people who have had near-death experiences, they'll tell you things worth remembering. Life is fragile and precious. I've decided to spend less time at work and more time with my wife and family. I have new compassion for people, more understanding and sympathy. I've come to know the Lord in a deeper and richer way than I ever thought possible. Instead of asking, why, Lord, they asked, what do you want me to learn from this experience? It's not that we are slow learners, we're just quick forgetters. Look at the Israelites. That's why God told his people, remember today what you have learned about the Lord through your experiences with him. This is one experience that I hope not only have you learned to be and the need to be more prepared, but the benefits of seeking God all the time, not in the good, the bad, and the ugly. Having that constant relationship with him. You've had all this time. Now learn moving forward to not forget and keep that time and keep the time with him and realize what you've experienced with him. So instead of asking God to improve your circumstances, ask him to use your circumstances to improve you. Life is a required course, so you might as well do your best to pass it. God is at work in your life whether you know it or not. He takes no pleasure in making life hard and throwing roadblocks in the way. God does not delight in your sufferings, but he delights in your development. God began doing a good work in you, and I'm sure he will continue it until he is finished. He will not fail. Why? Because he cannot fail. He will work in us what is pleasing to him. Every challenge, large or small, is equipping you for the future God has in mind for you. And trust me, guys, it will be good. He doesn't have ill thoughts towards us. He wants the best for us, just like we want the best for our children. And I really encourage you guys to ponder those thoughts. Here are some verses that you can look up later today. The first one was Deuteronomy 11:2. The second one is Lamentations 3:33, Philippians 1:6, and Hebrews 13:21. So remember that when we are going through these rough circumstances, don't ask why, ask what you can learn through these circumstances. Ask how God can grow you, because there's always growing moments in our chaos. Trust me. You've seen that with us, I'm sure. And none of us are void of learning or growing. That's the important thing we have to remember. Shelley says, I hope all the women here have a wonderful Mother's Day. I am so excited to be able to watch your videos. This will be a great teaching and learning process. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Building this cabin is going to be very unique, not like anything you guys have ever seen. I know there's some like it in Alaska, but they're still not built the same as this. Like I said earlier, my man has an amazing mind, and there are even parts of this build that I can't even envision. I will have to myself watch as it comes to fruition to fully understand the depths of what he's doing. And it is really amazing, and I'm just really excited for our cozy little home, and our view is going to just be amazing. We were blessed with windows this weekend. We got 7 windows. We had already been gifted with a window, and that window is going to go up in our bedroom. It's like a 3-foot by 4-foot or 3-foot by 5-foot window. It's huge, so we will have a lot of natural light. My south-facing side of the house will have another huge window. I think this one is 4 feet by 5 feet, and so is the front window. So it'll give us a lot of natural light in the front and then to the side, and the southern side, being it's such a large window, we'll have a large windowsill so that I can grow and start plants there. and then we will have other small windows throughout. But our view is just amazing, and to have that much natural lighting and to have such a small home, and it just makes it look larger, and it's just going to be so cozy. I'm just so excited to be in it and under a roof. I can't express that to you guys. I'm just so excited for that. Okay, Shelley says I can share. Okay. In regard to Shelley and she and Jim's need for prayer, and for Sarah is an addict and is having great struggles. We have asked for prayer for Sarah for a long time, and as a result of her addictions, which are multiple, she also has some mental health struggles as well. And she has been causing great disruption for Shelley and her life, and for Jim as a result, because no man likes to watch his woman in a very rough battle, and a battle that can't be won until the individual is willing to accept their responsibility in it and their struggles, and to seek help. So Sarah needs great prayers for accepted a protection order through the courts in order to keep my daughter Sarah away from me. She is using drugs and alcohol and may have mental health issues. Yeah, and it's just become so disruptive in their lives and in their neighborhood, and this, I think, will be a blessing, Shelley. I think that this will give you comfort, because you've done all you can, and it's to a place where she needs to be willing to accept help for herself, or get help, or that through the restraining order or the protection order, that she has gotten the help that she needs. But God is big. God is bigger than anything we walk out and what we experience. And through the power of our prayers, we can watch the transformation here. So please, guys, jump in and join us in praying for Shelley and Jim and Sarah. We live in a mobile home park, and if I do not get some control, they will evict us from the park. My daughter does not live with us, but her actions have disrupted the entire park. Yeah, and I think this will be a really good thing, because she isn't going to have that string anymore. It's going to be severed, and she's going to need to really embrace this on her own at this point. And you've done so much, Shelley, so you can't ever walk away from this saying that you didn't do your part. You did everything in your power. We've prayed for a long time, and now this is in God's hands. And you know what? When we place things in God's hands, and I know you have, but when we help you place this in God's hands, God can work tremendous miracles. I want to read this. There's quite a few here today. It's called No Age Limit. The Lord your God gives you power to be successful. Deuteronomy 8:18. This kind of plays in with what we're talking about with Shelley too, in that sometimes we feel our purpose is one thing, and God has purpose in something else for us. And when we follow his lead, he directs us to what we need to do, and good will come of it. The famous inventor Samuel Morse, excuse me one second. Baby, I saw Kathy's email come through, and she said that the driver should be calling within a half an hour. So it should ring on your phone. If not, at least I'll see the message on my screen, and you can call him back. Okay. Sorry about that. The famous inventor Samuel Morse dreamed of one day becoming a great painter. He even traveled to Paris in the pursuit of his dream. Years before, his preacher father, Jedediah Morse, had counseled him using the words of the Earl of Chesterfield. Attend to one thing at a time. The steady, undissipated attention to one object is the sure mark of a superior genius. As a result, Morse threw himself into painting, but after a series of setbacks, he finally abandoned it. The crushing moment came when he lost the appointment to paint a historic mural at the Capitol in Washington, D.C., and he gave up painting entirely. Writing about Samuel Morse in his book, The Greater Journey, historian David McCullough says, he must attend to one thing at a time, his father had preached. The one thing henceforth would be his telegraph. Had he not stopped painting when he did, no successful electromagnetic telegraph would have happened when it did, or at least not a Morse electromagnetic telegraph. Relatively late in his career, Samuel Morse gave up painting to focus on inventing the telegraph and eventually a language called Morse code that transformed how the world communicates. The Bible says the Lord your God is the one who gives you power to be successful. And here's the good news. There's no age limit with God. He can give you success at the beginning, in the middle, or at the very end of your life. But in order to grasp the thing at which you will succeed, you must be willing to let go of the thing at which you have failed. That just spoke to me in so many different ways in our circumstances and for Shelley. That in this situation with Sarah, you can't feel like you've failed. It's time for God to take over and produce the good that he has coming for Sarah in his way and in his timing. The other thing is for the rest of us that are out here that have wanted to do something so badly, and God keeps trying to redirect you and you won't allow the redirection. Sometimes God's plans are bigger and better than ours, and he has greater purpose and greater things in store for us. So when things like this coronavirus happen and we get in lockdown and your plans may have shifted or changed or been detoured, and you're seeing God leading you in a different direction, don't hesitate to follow his lead, because his lead is always better. And he may have some kind of other plans in store for you. So, and remember too that age doesn't matter, that you still, no matter what age you are, can be very successful in this life. God nurtures us the whole way through. And so many people have done amazing things late in their lives. So don't live life feeling like you have no purpose. You just may not have reached it yet. And here's another one that was really, I thought was really good. It is called, the verse is Hosea 14:4. I will heal their backsliding. I will love them freely. Halftime in the game is for rest and assessment. It's a time to regroup, to evaluate how things have been going and decide what adjustments need to be made for the rest of the game. Often a team may look like they're losing at halftime, but by the time the game ends, they've turned things around and won. Until the final whistle sounds, the game is still up for grabs. The same is true in life. If you're still here, the game of life isn't over for you. Your clock is still ticking. You have life yet to live. Not only that, but the first half doesn't have to determine the outcome of the game. Maybe you've made mistakes, experienced disappointments and failures. Maybe life has dealt you a harsh blow here or there, but you are still here. And as long as you are, the whistle hasn't blown, and it's not too late for God to take you straight to the plan he has for you. You see, God looks at your future while the enemy tries to keep you focused on your past. God says you can in spite of what's been done, but the enemy says you can't because of what you've done. God will never defend you by your past, whereas the enemy will try to control and confine you by using it against you. Whether the good, the bad, or the ugly, you missed your cue. I know you're concentrating. So whether the good, the bad, or the ugly dominated your first half, Satan's goal is to keep you chained there. God, on the other hand, wants you to learn from your past, not live in it. So I felt this was really pertinent because how many of you have walked into this situation and feel very unprepared? Maybe you feel like you're lacking skills and that you should have done more in the first half. Here's your chance. The whistle hasn't blown. You're still here. Start embracing. Start making lists of things you wish to learn, and don't be overwhelmed by that list. Attack one thing at a time. Keep your focus on the one thing and keep moving through your list. Doesn't mean you have to go in order. You might find something in that list that inspires you more at one time than another. So one at a time, go through that list, learn those skills. Become more prepared. Make the list of the things you wished you would have had more of when this all took place. Focus on what you were lacking, just enough to jot it down. Don't focus on it and keep harboring it. Focus on what you were lacking, write it down so you can plan ahead for the future, and be grateful for what you do have and how you planned ahead in that regard. But it's not over, and you need to keep focused, moving ahead, not looking back. I tell you that all the time. So let's see here. Tammy says, I continue to lift you up in prayers. The lawyer was surprised, Shelley says, that the RCMP, the police, have not done anything more to help me. Sadly, that tends to be a truth in situations like that. But keep pushing forward, Shelley. Keep pushing forward and get things in place. Do your part, and God will meet you, and we will continue to all pray. Dianna says, a song I've heard over the last couple of months has a line, you can make a couple of wrong turns and still end up where you're supposed to be. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? Failure is often a stepping stone. Well, it should be a stepping stone to our progression. We got to keep moving forward, and failures are things that we can learn from and keep in our forward motion. That's why we are faithfully moving forward, guys. And it's so important that we realize that that we're going to make wrong turns. We're going to make mistakes, but we can still end up in the right place if our desire to get there is strong. And to keep that desire strong, we need to keep seeking Him, keep doing our best, keep moving one day at a time. Sometimes that's 1 second at a time. Some days are rough. We can all attest to that. We can all attest to those days that take you to your knees, that it takes great effort to pull your bootstraps and to put on your big girl panties and your big guy panties, boxers, I guess. My husband just made a really funny look. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. It's important that we keep moving forward and realize that we're going to make mistakes. We're going to have failures. We're going to make wrong turns. Learn from them. Don't get stuck in those places. Don't become, just don't stay in those places. Keep moving forward. Keep looking forward. Keep seeking gratitude. Keep seeking something positive in the midst of the chaos. And I promise you, one step at a time, you will keep moving forward and get where you need to go. Yep, exactly. Shelley says that's so true, Dianna. Yep. And I want to read one other thing to you guys. Rejoice anyway. Philippians 4:4. Rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice. Many times when people have problems or challenges, they focus so intently on finding a solution that they do not relax or enjoy life until the problems are solved. How many of you can raise your hand to that? I want to encourage you not to put off joy any longer, because joy will help you get through the crisis you're going through. We can rejoice in spite of and in the midst of our problems. The Apostle Paul knew that joy gives us strength. We had plenty of reasons to be afraid, discouraged, and depressed. Paul could have decided to live his life in survival mode, but he chose to be joyful. We need to make the same choice Paul did, to rejoice always, even in difficult situations. This is one way we demonstrate our trust in God and prove our love for Him. Jesus said in John 17:13, I say these things while I am still in the world, so that my joy may be made full and complete and perfect in them, that they may experience my delight fulfilled in them, that my enjoyment may be perfected in their own souls, that they may have my gladness within them, filling their hearts. What a scripture. Jesus wants His joy to be made full in us. He wants us to experience His delight. That's what I'm praying for you today, that the joy of the Lord would fill your heart and be your strength. Don't let circumstances or situations steal your joy, but love God and do yourself a favor too by being joyful. Love God today. Lord, I pray that no matter what difficulties or problems I face today, I choose to rejoice anyway. We all need to do that. Sweet Shelley, that's for you today. I read that this morning and I totally thought of you. Rejoice, with your mobile home park communicating with you and the potential of eviction, that is something to be grateful for and a blessing, because I'm sure it will help you in your efforts of getting things in place. And I'm sure that your neighbors have seen and feel for you, and much joy will come from this when you gain peace back for yourself and for the neighbors, and I know that God will continue to work in Sarah despite you having a connection with her. You need your peace and joy, and seek that and find that. Guys, for the rest of you, the same applies. When you are in a circumstance, don't focus on the things you can't control. You hear me say that all the time. And don't focus so intensely on the problem and finding a solution to something you can't, that you miss the happiness and the joy in your life. Our lives are so short. And, the other one that I read earlier about people that have experienced near-death experiences may say about their strong walk with Jesus. You guys hear me just sharing that regularly. And it's something that I cannot conceal. I can't. My walk with him has gotten so strong and so amazing, and I am so blessed by that. And with life being short, we need to focus on the good in life and not the problems. We need to find our joy and keep moving faithfully forward, seeking him, putting things at his feet and letting him control them, the things that we can't, and knowing deep in our hearts that God has it and that we can have complete faith and trust in him, and all we have to do is be obedient. And guys, I hope and pray that through the circumstances I have walked out, you have seen that resonated and shared and very dominant. And I hope in some way it has helped you build your faith and trust muscles and learn to be more obedient, because that is what we've learned so strongly through this experience is obedience. Obedience to his word, obedience to a constant fellowship with him, and to constantly seeking him, not just when our life goes upside down or when we have a need, but every day. There's something every day that we can be grateful for. And when we start seeking that, you can see his hand so much more present in your life as a result of that. And God does, we do go through really rough times. Sometimes the things we walk out, you just don't imagine being able to get to the other side, and that you may not have the strength or the courage, and that you just feel so zapped and worn out and weary, and you don't know how you could possibly muster more courage or strength. Sometimes that's where we come in, and where you share a prayer request with a friend who you know is very willing to pray for you, and not just say they're going to pray for you, but they pray, and they pray wholeheartedly for you. That is powerful stuff. I can't tell you how often through that 4-year journey, and I can't take credit for going through it alone. My family, we all prayed for each other. We were very quick to reach out to people that we knew would pray for us and ask for additional prayers on those days that we didn't have the strength to reach our bootstraps, and that we needed God so extremely. And being, sometimes I guess it takes us to be humble and just to be willing to ask others to pray. And, I've shared it many times. You don't always have to share what is happening. I have a friend who will message me regularly and say, I need prayers, unspoken prayers. And that's all I need to hear. You know, her prayer is something that she's not willing to share, doesn't want to share, and that is okay with me. I'm not offended by that. You know, that is okay because God knows what she needs. But if I can back her in those prayers and lift her and help her get the courage and the strength she needs to grab her bootstraps that day, I'm right there. I'm willing and I'm very able. Lifting people in prayer is a simple process, but it's something that we get great privilege and honor out of. So if you need prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. And if you don't have a relationship with Jesus, it's really easy to have such a thing. He died on the cross for all of us. He offered us all the same gift, the gift of eternal life, the gift of a relationship with him, the gift of his love and mercy and grace, that no matter what we've done, nothing is too terrible that he will not accept us and love us. And he's offered that to all of us. Some of us have accepted that and willingly stepped into that place and are moving forward in that. Others have not accepted that, and it's all you have to do. If you want that, all you have to do is accept what he's offered to you and just ask him to come into your heart. Ask him to please forgive you for the things you have done and wholeheartedly mean it. And walk into that relationship with him. Seek him, talk to him, pray to him, read his word, and do your best day to day to be obedient and follow the things that you read in his word. You know, we're all going to sin. We're all going to continue to sin. It is our nature. But to be able to come to him and ask for forgiveness and keep moving forward, faithfully forward in him, is what it's all about. And that relationship, guys, is what it's all about. I couldn't imagine my life without it, and I will never live life without it. So I want to encourage you, if you're not walking with him, to join him, because it's an amazing, amazing place. You will hear me say that all the time. I'm not sure if any other messages have been shared here. No. Okay. And I wanted to share, some of you have mentioned that you've been unable to comment because you haven't been able to log in and you couldn't get logged into your account. I shared this on Facebook also, so you can leave comments there, and I will respond to those. You can leave comments here, I think as an anonymous, but I'm not sure. So if you can't get logged in, there's other platforms that you can comment and leave me messages, or just message me on our Facebook page, or Facebook Messenger, or email me. We love to hear from you guys, and we love to be a light in whatever way we can. And especially if it's a prayer need, you can email me at prayers@trayerwilderness.com. But guys, I'm going to let you go so you can get back to your days. I love you all, and I am praying for you all. And Shelley, you can count on everyone's prayers. We will be lifting you up and encouraging you and giving you the courage and the strength you need, because I know this is a hard time. Things with my daughter as well. And I know how hard it can be, and you've got our support and love coming your way. Wish I could give you a hug from afar. I'm sending that in prayers, but I wish I could give you a hug. I know how powerful that can be too. That is one of the hardest things with this virus, is not being able to give people hugs that you run into, because I'm a hugger, and there's certain people that I see and I always envelope them in a hug, and I can't now, and it feels really weird. But anyway, I'm going to say a prayer here and send you guys into the rest of your day. Papa, I just thank you for your love and mercy and grace. I thank you for technology and the ability to share your word and your blessings via live video and the different platforms that we share on. I'm just thankful and grateful that we have the ability to reach people, reach our friends. Like I said, share your love and your mercy and grace with them and the gospel. And I just ask that you please be with Shelley. Give her intense comfort and peace today, and just courage to do what she needs to do. And just help her to feel your love and your presence in her life, as well as Jim as well. And I ask that you wrap your loving arms around Sarah as we put her at your feet, and ask that you just keep a hedge of safety over her. Help her to hit a place where she has no other place but to seek help for herself. And through these protection orders that Shelley's putting in, allow there to be services and the people there to see the need, that she is in dire straits and needs help. And Lord, just bring peace to her community there, and allow them to show excess love to she and Jim in these times. And just be with Dianna and Craig, and help Craig with his healing. I ask that you be with the mountain boy and just continue to heal his body. I also ask that you're with the mountain man and just give him strength and courage, and just keep his head from exploding with all that's going on in it as far as our build, and just keeping things straight, and just bless him for all that he's doing. And I just ask that you be with the rest of our audience, be with Kelly and Mike and Cortney as they walk out healing for Mike as well as Cortney. And just be with all those that are in need. Bless our audience, love on our audience. Help those that are learning to prepare if they have questions to ask, and to come forward and to seek guidance and direction, and to just instill the need for preparedness and skills in people's lives right now, so that moving forward they are equipped not only to take care of themselves in those ways, but also help them to seek you and put you first. Full preparedness comes with you in the front, and we just hope that others will see what we're doing and start to do the same, because there's so many great blessings in a life with you leading the way. Just thank you for what you're going to do in our lives. Thank you for what you have done. Thank you for blessing our property with a spring. I know that you can work that miracle, and we thank you for it. And just keep us all safe and healthy and strong, and just give everyone courage and feel your presence. We love you, and we ask all this in the holy and precious name of Jesus. Amen. Okay, guys, if you have questions, comments, leave them down below. Like I said, the Mountain Man and I would love to do Q&As moving forward. I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions once we start moving forward with the build of our home. But when it comes to preparedness, food preservation, pantry, raising animals, anything in the preparedness, homesteading, off-grid aspect, and anything, don't hesitate to ask. If we don't have the answers, we will be sure to get you answers. But there's a lot we do here, and we love being able to share it with you and guide you and direct you down the right path. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I love you all. I wish you all a very blessed and joy-filled day, and I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday, and I may pop in between just to test things up there. But guys, take care. Check out our website, follow us on this build, join us on Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and click on the alert bell so that you can get notifications when we're doing new things. We love you all. Take care, and God bless.